memories of Johnny that are around forever. And the same with the Caneen brothers, and that frustrated me. But I don't have one crowning glory, mate. I think people's acceptance of all my books is my proudest moment, and what Andrew and I have tried to do, and others who have associated and helped me, what they've tried to do with these books as well. I think that's my proudest moment. I miss the days, as I mentioned before, when I had people like Ian Shepherd and Con Migro and Peter Gerbiel and David Landis, Sid Hopping, all those people who used to build good.
Yep, from Brisbane, Archfield
Splitter. Used to support me so well and support what I did back when the magazine days. I think, yes, it's really hard, mate, because it's been a 40-year career, and people like Dennis and Bill Meyer and Dennis Newell and Bill Meyer, David Cumming and all these other guys who came before me, well, Dennis is still involved, but taught me how to love the sport through imagery and publishing, and I suppose the crowning glory is my books. Yeah, if I was going to, the books, definitely the books, I think I worked with Gary Rush for a short time at Parramatta when before Bob Rutley bought it, and I enjoyed that.
It was a disastrous season, wasn't it? Wasn't that one where you got all the rainouts?
Yeah, but Gary, he put his heart and soul in that. You have to see behind the scenes before you say anything about anyone. Yeah, it's a very, very difficult thing to do. There's two people that I have a lot of time for at the moment who are doing the best they can. Dave Mills from Warrnambool has done a great job. I think he's the first bloke in 2 decades has actually offered me a season pass and actually asked me if I wanted one, and then gave me car parks and season pass and a rundown of the season, and I was truly, I suppose, honoured in a strange way that he even thought of me. Then of course the guy is doing great things, and some may disagree, but John Kelly is by far the best promoter in the country now, and love him or hate him, John has a problem with me, you tell me. If I have a problem with him, I'll tell him. That's just the way it's always been. But he is pumping out all these shows, and he's getting pretty good crowds, and he's probably the last real true promoter we have in this sport, and Kathy's supporting him as well.
They work well as a team, don't they?
They work well as a team, and it's a tough scenario. He's been doing it for a long time, and Dave Mills is whilst he's only a manager, he has to look after a lot of people at Warrnambool.
Yep.
And that's why I'm so proud that we're doing the 50 Classics book, with Jeff Rounds. And
so has that been embraced by the Premier Speedway track, I'm assuming?
Yeah, Dave. Yeah. I'm leaving a lot of that up to Jeff Rounds, because he's a smart cookie and he's got the passion like I have. And this is a book for Warrnambool. Okay, I'm from Sydney, but Jeff's in Warrnambool, and it's just going to be something that the club will be very proud of. And I know Ian Shepherd, looking up from above, will be proud of the final product too, and everybody else who's raced at the Classic.
Yeah.
But I'd still love to see more David Landers around. I'd like to see more Con Migros around. Barry Waldron and Felicity Waldron are doing the best they can, and it's a tough scenario for them in Sydney because the crowds just aren't there anymore. The demographics have completely changed from 20 years ago.
Is that a scary point for the future when you look towards the future? Like, obviously with Parramatta City Raceway closing down now, and the track at Eastern Creek not solid, no ground's been broken, as they say.
Well, when you go into attack, I think you've got to remember you're going to have to retreat sometimes too. You're not going to win every battle. I think it's a tough scenario, the new track. I'm sure it will be built, and I just, whatever happens, the people who run it, I just hope do a great job. And I hope they embrace the media too, and there's something there for the media. But it's going to be tough because even the drags don't pull big crowds these days. And you've got to be honest about it. it's just very tough. Christmas, New Year, yep, they're your best times, and you will always pull a fairly decent crowd. But a couple of rainouts during that period, and you're going to do it tough. Simple as that. Yeah, look, I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think a good promoter and a good administrator, people with good business sense and good, let's say, promoting talent. You know, you just can't promote a race meeting. You have to do so much more now. You've got to get the cars to the malls, you've got to get to the newspapers, you've got to get to electronic media. And the most important aspect, and I say this to all racetracks, look after your media. You look after your media, the media will look after you. Because it's just as easy now to turn and walk away from the sport. You know,
and you've seen that over the years, so many people come and go.
Absolutely, you know, and why would the sport allow this to happen? You know, like I don't know one racetrack that supports the media. Yeah, they let you in, but you know, you're logging these heavy cameras, and you're spending umpteen thousands of hours reproducing your photographs and posting and printing and publishing and doing everything for the sport. And most of us do it for nothing. So I don't think it's too hard to get the media, not just Speedway media, but media in general, get a nice little VIP box for them, put a few drinks on there, put some areas where they can put their cameras during the downtime or the track grades, and make them feel a little bit more special. Because they're out there in the centre of the track, and they're capturing, you know, in all the atmospheres, you know, whether it's rain, hail or shine, they're out there capturing the action for your racetrack. You know, it's just a simple ask, you know. Look after the media, because the media, if looked after, will look after you. It's a simple
It's a two-way street, isn't it? So.
Well, yeah, but they just don't. Like I mentioned, a few do, yeah. But for the most part, I think, you know, we're just there, and that's it. You know, we're allowed in, and that's where it ends. We put a vest on, told where to go, and then we go, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's good enough. Not in this society. This society, you need the media so much more than you've ever needed before.
Yeah.
And it's critical you have the media on side. Whether I stay in the sport in years to come or not is totally up to how these rugby league books go.
Yeah.
And I even have to look at different avenues now because the support's not there from the sport.
It's a great shame, isn't it?
It's a terrible shame. You know, I can't do a lot of these books without good supporters. And I do thank Speedway Australia and the Crosses from Eliminator Race Wings and Graham Langelo and you know, Alistair McKean and his family and his Southwest Conveyancing, KRE Engines and all those other people, Greg Foster, who've supported me in like Sprint Cars 2 alone. You know, and all those who financially assisted me to produce these books, and I hope I've given something back in return for the sport. But you must look after the media. And Daniel, it's the most frustrating aspect of this sport, that the media is we're just there. You know, David Lander was very smart, and Sid Hopping as well, Mike Raymond. He looked after the media. They were put up in a VIP box. The Mackays, the Phil Christensens, all these people were looked after. David wasn't stupid. He's still not stupid. He's still pretty smart. Mike Raymond, best of them all. Sid Hopping even had the nous to get a lot of radio stars back in the day, John Coots, Kerry-Ann Kennelly, and all these people to the Speedway.
Yeah, and that's unheard of these days, isn't it?
They just don't do it. You know, like even the press days, and I'm sorry to say this, but the press days at Valvoline Raceway, Sydney Speedway, Parramatta Speedway, I can never get that right. We're not invited. We're not even told about it. Now, why wouldn't you tell the media that a football star or a media star or someone is going to go and have a run in a sprint car? Well, I know why, I don't really want to say, but it's like a shutout. It's just for one person and one person's support only, and that's wrong. You don't do that. If you're going to have a media day or a press day, you invite the press. It's not just for Facebook. Who cares about Facebook? There's a lot of other avenues other than Facebook, Daniel. You know, you've got the local papers, you've got the major dailies, and Dennis is still getting stories in the major
dailies. As of yesterday.
That's right, which still have enormous impact. Don't get me wrong, they have enormous impact. The TV stations and that. But if you're not going to support You know, why just support one person with a camera, phone, or a TV, or a local crew? Why not involve everybody? I just
To
never
get
been able to-
maximum exposure.
When David Lander and Sid Hopping used to have their press days, and Mike Raymond, and Con Migro too, all the news photographers came out, the Speedway photographers came out, all the magazines came out to watch the English side practice, or the American sprint car team practice, the American sedan team practice. Everyone was invited. So it wasn't just one person with a camera or one or two people representing just the track itself. It was a whole plethora of people invited along to enjoy the moment as well, and to give that track the publicity
Exposure.
that they were trying to attract themselves.
Yeah.
And you know, the more people you have at a PR event, the
more
better
publicity.
it is for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, the rugby league book, we will have a launch for our rugby league book, and we will have anyone and everyone is to do with rugby league there. We're going to shut people out. Everyone is involved. And we're shutting people out in this sport. It's getting to the point where it's only for a few people's knowledge only. And that's very dangerous, it's very greedy, and it's very unfair. I mean, Speedway Racing News, not Speedway Racing News, Full Throttle Publishing, yourself and other avenues, Dennis Newland, we're not even hashtagged in a lot of these posts that you see today. You know, race car manufacturers are, your PR's not. Like the people representing the sport are not. It's almost like a shutout. And you know, I just don't have any time for it. I don't understand why it's been allowed. The sport is at a point where it needs everything it can get.
Especially when it comes to exposure. Yeah.
The government is about to put $40 million into a new racetrack. You don't think they want to get something back? You don't think that they want to get some form of good publicity back in the future? You look at the drags, they have hundreds of photographers, they have PR people, they have a VIP suite up there for the media and everyone. I've been trying to tell people about this for years. So that's why I was proud to actually receive a phone call from David Mills. To me, that was a great moment, you know, that he actually gave me the time to, well, he was thinking not only of what I may have done in the past, but what I could do for him in the future. And I'm happy to do that and support him. You know, I don't know. As you can see, I'm very disappointed at the way the media is treated. It's it could be the death knell in the future for the sport.
It's a scary prospect, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you can have young photographers just go out there and take happy snaps. But what you want is professional people out there doing it.
They know what they're doing. Yeah.
You know, Corey, Phil Jordison, myself, Brett Swanson, Gavin Skeen, and some of the really good shooters out there are making a difference to the sport when they're not getting any other publicity. You get a fantastic action photograph, that can make all the difference. It can find itself in the newspaper, it can find itself getting tens of thousands of hits, you know, so I think we rely on this far too much. We bury our heads in a mobile phone now. You can put a post in on a mobile phone, Daniel, and 5 minutes later it's gone forever.
Yeah.
Unless it's on your own. But even then you'll post more things in the future and then it gets lost in transition. It's lost in the great wave of electronic technology that floats around us every day in the week, and that's not what it's about, you know. Like, this is why books like this, they're tangible, you can pick them up, you can go through beautiful pages, you know, you can see the great images that have been taken, and it's not just from my point of view, Daniel, it's from the point of view of the sport, you know.
It's tilted up a bit, box.
Yeah, Tim Rugendijk's incredible futuristic drawing of a sprint car.
Yeah.
You know, just images of our sport from the past.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's my photography or it's someone else's.
Yeah. It's capturing the sports.
It's capturing the sport. Look at this. We've never had that before. Tim Rugendijk.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Has done a timeline which has never been shown before, or never been tried before in the history of our sport, all hand illustrated. So these things are what are important, but whilst Facebook and electronic media has its benefits, absolutely, like what we're doing now, you cannot rely on it. one post is then gone and it's lost forever. You know, a lot of people may see it, but because there's so much on Facebook,
So instant, it comes and gone as quickly
in a
as
blink
you
of
say.
an eye.
Yeah.
You know, I know people are doing interviews left, right, and centre these days with race car drivers and riders and that around the world. I don't even see them. I only hear about them. They're gone in an instant. Like you might get 2,000 or 3,000 views, but that's it. They're gone forever.
Yeah.
Books and things are there, tangible.
Forever.
Whenever you want them. So you can understand our point of view, you know.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. All right, Tony, well, that sums everything up. I'm Totally Speedo's Daniel Powell. This is Tony Loxley from Full Throttle Publishing. Thanks very much for your time, Tony.
Thank you very much for having me, mate. I know I wax on a little bit, wax lyrically a little bit, but you know what? This is the greatest sport in the world. Speedway, in all forms, is just an amazing sport, an amazing spectacle. And the only thing I would like to see, I mean, there's people doing great things, spending a lot of money, the Waldrons, Kellys, Mills, Gavin Migro, and all these guys trying to do the best they can. But I think they can make it even better by supporting the media a little bit more. You know, Speedway Australia can help in that, and I know they're trying hard. But you know, they've got a tough time too. But particularly in these COVID-19 times. But it can be achieved. So yeah. But I love the sport. I've loved every bit about it, and yeah, it's been an honour and a pleasure to be a part of it.
Wonderful, Tony, and thanks for capturing it, and let the good times continue, hopefully more in the future years.
We have more books on the way, and yeah, it's hopefully things will change for the better for the media, but hopefully things will change for the better of the whole sport down the road.
That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.